Okay, I'm going to get started in a few minutes, and looks like I've got a few questions coming in already. I'll just go ahead and start answering those, and then we'll see if we get anybody on. Uh, you know, uh, so Steven Insights, you got four symbols there. So let me take a look for you and see what we could find out. So let's see here. First one is AI, C3 AI. So again, we don't really want to trade this sector until the industry, all the AI stocks find a low. We have a pretty deep box that's just been sitting here for a while. I believe that's where it's headed. Of course, this looks like a nice little bit of expanded flat pattern connector wave that played out, and definitely has trapped a lot of buyers and is now unwinding, and looks like we could say three swings with a connector: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, 4, and we're in 5. So we would want to see a break of 1879 and possibly lower, holding 1050. It does seem likely that it would find support given the impulse off the low. Okay, so it does seem likely we'll find some kind of support here soon once this low breaks, but it could see as low as $13. DJT is another one. So the big thing, guys, you have to understand about the small caps. For those that are members, I've been saying this, and I think it's important. And again, you don't want to not to state the obvious, but the small cap index is breaking down. The next level is 200. So all your small caps that you love and cherish and own and covet probably are going lower. Okay, as this plays out, they're probably not going higher. So no matter, so we have to factor that in our forecast. Now, there's always a chance there's these counter trend rallies, right? This could be a 1 and a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and then we rally back up and chop around. But until we get to this general area, the market will be under pressure in the small caps. So all those small caps you own are likely to continue to bleed lower until that area is hit in the Russell index. Okay, just something to keep in mind. Now, DJT was one here that we tried to play this little pop here, got bought, and we stopped out right here, and now it's in free fall, which is what we expected would happen, which is why we don't want to trade it, and got out of that. And so now it's still back in a higher degree wave correction. It's in a higher degree correction. So you have 3 and 3, and should hopefully erase divergence, and it has. So we are pushing lower here, and if we look at that peak, we probably have 3 here as well. So something like this, and then 3 ABC. Oh, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So something like this. This 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So perhaps this has just a little bit more downside. And then if I look at the structure, it looks okay, although you see this is a pretty big pump. We need to be careful of the pump and failure, but as long as we have erased divergence, and we have, that's the time frame. So I think it has a little bit more downside left, and then after that it should hopefully rally or potentially find the low. And it looks like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3, 4, 5. So something like that. So it still should push lower. Okay, a little bit. So that's how I'd label this chart if I was just kind of looking at it. Let's try to get a level as well. And that gets you to 1565. So that's a pretty big drop still. So maybe it's forecasting an erasure of divergence has become a 1-2, 1-2, so we don't know. So just keep that in mind. It could really go lower. And of course, I showed you the Russell Index. Woozy's the same thing. So if you guys own a portfolio of small caps, like I'm being asked here, you need to diversify your holdings. You need to own other things because the small caps will go down as one big basket. So the next level on Woozy is at 188 or 0. So it's essentially it needs to find support here or it's gone to 0. So there it is. That's probably your connector. It needs one more. I could swing up, and then then that's an opportunity to lighten your load, or you can ride this down and hopefully it recovers from this area. And in fact, we should probably put the low right there at 84 cents. So that's what we're looking for in Woozy. RXRX, again, all these stocks, don't ride them all the way down to the bottom. I mean, please don't do that. God, no. I've been trying, and again, if you're not a member, you need to be, because I've been saying this to my members, especially my elite members, so I'm just, it's only $5 to join, and you get this information, and you wouldn't have rode these things down. You would at least got out close to even or had some profit, because the Russell Index is breaking down, okay? It's not going higher. You can't pump stocks with the Russell Index breaking down. All right, so let's take a look at this one more time. Here, we got to make sure it's not a corrective move off the low. That's the one thing we want to make sure. Obviously, it's only in 3 swings. So what we probably, right now, and that looks like 5 down from the low, from the peak. So we have to look at it potentially as a corrective move. So we need to kind of just take a step back on this chart and reassess where we are with it, and see if we can get it to match up better with the indices and kind of clean it up here. So we had the first impulse, a 1-2, and now we had, again, looks like another impulse off that high here. So I think I'm okay with that being another 1-2 here like we had before. Okay, and then let's go back to the daily and the weekly. So you had a 1-2, a 1-2. There's your low, and now your peak. So I would probably label it this way. You have your low here for 2, and then this could be labeled a couple different ways. My thinking is it could be a 1, 2, and then well, now that won't work. I'm trying to see if I can get a more bullish label on this, and just to give it. It looks like 3 and 3 and 3. So again, and 3. So we have to kind of assume that it's moving in a corrective pattern for now, like this. And if that low holds, that's okay, because it could be a moving off of the low in 3 swings, but that could get us back down to these lower areas here, and this could become a really choppy lead-in diagonal out, something like this, and then a big pullback later back down. So it could do something like this. Here, this pullback though is in 5 waves, so that's what that would indicate to me is we should bounce and fail again in 3 waves, like we had 3 waves here. So that's probably where it's going at the moment. And let's just take a look. 1, 2, 1, 2. Maybe it's already formed a connector. It looks like it's already formed a connector. Looking at it at a shorter time frame. So you have 1. A, B, C, D, E, X, Y. So it's already moving in its final move lower. And you want it to hold 565. Ideally, to keep the bullish structure intact. But we know we're correct in that whole cycle. That's what's happening here. So it's hard to project a target other than you could try to gauge the three swings here in this in the shorter time frame. You have 1, 2, so A, B, and now you have 1, 2. You need 3, 4, 5. You need some extension, so it looks like more downside, and then some kind of bottom in process. You know, maybe somewhere around here, this area of support, and then if you're lucky, you get another swing higher. And then if the Russell's trading where I showed you below 200, you have the alignment and everything looks good. Everything looks good. So that's what that's why that's what I'm thinking, guys. That's what I'm thinking with this RXRX. But you have to understand with the small caps, if you have the little small caps and all those little things, and the Russell's going down, your stock's going to go down with it. So we have to be very defensive. I mean, there's always an outlier, but you can't. You got to understand how the markets trade as one whole entity. And if the king, if the king and queen and bishop are going down, the whole kingdom's fallen. All this is the kingdom, right? The whole kingdom will go down if those indices are going down. They just are, no matter the counts and what we want them to do, because the Russell broke lower. Okay, the Russell broke lower, and we saw that right here. Okay, that was the warning on that pump. We got out of all those little symbols, all those little stocks. We'll get back in them later. Down here, we'll be picking them off one by one. And hopefully I'm not buying them back from you guys that are panic selling them. Please, God, don't have that happen, because I'm telling you right now what to expect, okay? Could it be a straight line down to here? It could be. Can it be choppy? Like I said, it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a retrace. Guess what? When that happens, I'm going to short the Russell here. Guess what? Most traders are going to short that if that happens. So that's what you're going against. That's what you're trading against if you're holding long positions. If this plays out like this, and then we bounce again, and we bounce like this, most traders are going to short here. They're going to short that. I will. Everyone will. I mean, this is the short setup. If we get this, you can probably get out of your small stuff. Okay, your only hope you have for a pump in the small stocks is a bigger connector, a connector that plays out as an A, B, C. But as we impulse down, and getting more and more separation, that scenario is going to come in less and less likely. Okay, just understand that. All right, Lunar, the same thing. We took the profit on that trade and took the money and run, right? And then I canceled that trade. So here we had the pump. We took the money and run as we saw the Russell breaking down. And now we're looking to get back in. So this is the area. This is the next swing area, but the swings aren't done, and obviously it's going to go deeper in this zone. So you have 3 here. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're moving in some kind of ABC. So you have an A, a B, and now you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have your first A, B, and now you need a whole nother leg lower. You're going to need a whole nother leg lower. So it's probably coming down to this $12, $11 area. Again, as the Russell goes, so does all these other stocks. That's just the way it goes. Now, eventually this will end. This looks like nice 5 waves off the low, and we should see continuation as long as it doesn't go too deep, and then it may do a series of 1s and 2s for a while off of the bottom to reaccumulate. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's just correcting the whole thing, and it's at the mercy of the Russell index, but it looks like it's like the other stock. It looks like we're in this count at the moment. 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're in 3 of 3. Maybe could be finishing 3, right? The first 3. And then, but maybe we get more separation tomorrow. The other possibility is you're still in B. If that's the case, so see how we broke that low? If that's the case, you probably can use that as opportunity to dump it and get out of the trade right here on the back test and get out at 18 if it wants to do that. And then it'll probably take another leg lower, okay, when it back tests this area. And then it should probably find a low. But again, it's looking less and less likely that situation is going to happen, but you never know. Okay, uh, we need to erase that divergence. But let's go to the 4 hour first. Yeah, this is a little bit of divergence on these higher time frames. It needs to push lower. It needs to push lower still. Okay, those are all the little small caps. They're all going down to different degrees. I think out of all of them, DJT looked like the best one. Okay, that's my opinion. All right, Ryan, let me see here, guys. Thanks again for joining. I always go to my members first, and then I'll go circle back non-members. And appreciate you guys joining and participating and upgrading. I see a little bit of some upgrades here. Thanks again, guys. So Mike, Geo, let's go to Geo here, and my advice is, look at the stocks that are performing well through this correction because they could be your new market leaders when the correction ends. Looks like we got a great reaction here. Look at that. It hit our buy area exactly and went vertical. Okay, so please tell me you bought that. If you, because I must have done this chart for somebody. I assume it's you. Nobody really. I mean, if you're in this, you just stay long. You just stay long. When you get a reaction like that, that's what you want to see. So you're in 1. You haven't even made 2 yet. So you just stay in it, and then you put your stop loss right there. You basically have a zero risk trade if you filled that. If you got filled there, zero risk. So now you just wait. The target would be, at least $39, $40, but it could extend and accelerate. You never know. Okay, really simple trade. I'm glad that one worked out. Okay, Anonymous. MicroStrategy is not really. That one you're gonna have to stick your neck out and buy it pretty much because the chart is almost too bearish to even show on this live stream for people. But I'll show it because again it's predicting a potential catastrophe for the company. But the natural target for MicroStrategy again would be 149. Okay, so could it get to 149? A lot of times they play out. It does. If that happens, I gotta imagine Bitcoin's still got a lot more downside to get there, or there's a company-specific crisis about to emerge, and then this count becomes a 1-2, 1-2, and then uncontrollable selling as the crisis unfolds. Or and then here's the other alternative. It finishes 5 and it's done. Truncates. And that's why I said it's not it's like you either stick your neck out and start to buy it here, or you wait for this area and then pick it off here. And this is your wave 4. So again, you had a blow off top, okay, and it's over, right? So obviously it's not extended. So obviously this is over. This 5 is done. So it's correcting its whole grand super cycle. So it's probably will come down here. This. So I don't want to buy it. I wouldn't buy it. In fact, it shorts only in 3 waves, bounces. I think there's something wrong here. Obviously, with what's going on, there's still a lot more distance to go. A lot more distance to go. BCHG is all about the premium, and you can't anticipate levels. All I know is the level was hit, and we're starting to react higher. Okay, so why is that the case? I can't tell you. Maybe people are getting in before it pumps. Maybe it's too oversold, this instrument, too many shorts, or maybe it's going to extend. Right, it's going to extend. And we're not done going down, and it's a 1-2, 1-2, and it goes lower. So the cycle is over. The cycle's over. So you have to say that cycle's over, and this is at this point it's finished. It's a finished correction. Okay, you can't overthink it. You can't go to Bitcoin Cash and go, well, it's got to go lower. It can't go. You got to just play this on its own because it all has its own dynamics, its own characteristics, its own derivatives, all that. So you just have to play the chart. Now, again, you are correct in this whole move on this bounce, and if it fails, I would stop out of it at 251 and dump it because then it's obviously going lower because then you'll have a big 1 2, 3. It may even go under $1 at that point. So this to me, the correction's already over based on the RSI, the breakout right here. So the correction's over against this low. And you'll have to in your mind decide if that's what you want to buy it and have a stop loss, or it goes all the way back down to these lower areas. And guys, by the way, on our channel, we did have to buy here a long time ago. This boy, and then we had look, we had the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So if you follow me long enough, we get good setups, and they really do play out. It's just we're in a bear market phase now of this market. We're in the bear market phase. But there's always a bear market. There's always a bottom in and a bull market. We're in the bear market phase, okay? So just understand where we are, okay? But and if you follow me long enough, we'll get the bull market setups. It's just, unfortunately, we're in a bear market, just like we were here on our channel. But we got it, and we got in here, and it did a massive pump, and now we're coming back down, and here we are again. And I believe it will do another massive pump in the future at some point, but we don't know we don't know the future and where it's going to go. But it does look like the cycle's over. So I would put the low in at 252, and it's building higher from here. Indo is it's all about energy. And I get asked about this a lot, and you just have to assume when oil breaks out in its grand super cycle wave 3 of 3 with XLE and 3 of 3, this should take off like a rocket ship. We're still above this peak. I still want to see a little more downside, but I mean technically we should be getting close to a really good area. Now, if we break this low, it doesn't really matter. Again, I can adjust this count in so many different ways. It's really the only way to time this pump in Indo is with the oil market and energy bottoming. And unfortunately, we don't have that setup right now. We don't have that setup. We still have downside, right? We still have downside that needs to play out in some fashion unless we extend the connector out. And if we can break out enough momentum, we can extend the connector, Indo will run. The other clue we can look for is go to the commodities, go to the XLE, and watch the XLE. Okay, so the XLE, if it breaks down, Indo goes down. If the XLE could come back and take out 94.44, energy is bottomed, and it should start to accelerate higher. We'll get aggressive in energy. That's the signal. This is the signal to know it's time to get a bit more bullish on energy and start to get aggressive with energy, okay? We're going to watch that, but this is a big moment because what do we have here? We have a 1-2, setup, right? We have a 1-2 setup here. I'm sorry, an A, B, C, and a 1-2, 1-2. So we could be on the doorstep of a catastrophe in energy, a calamity, a meltdown, okay? We're on the doorstep. Now this can be negated with just a simple little pump, and that's it. And then it's off, and then it's wave 3, okay? It changes everything. It changes the character of the market and probably what's the leading sector. But remember, the last bear market we were in, energy led. So perhaps energy will get a bid. And once that happens, we get aggressive with our energy stocks. And Indo, I think, we'll have another good run. Until then, this could happen. And until that happens, Indo is in trouble with all the energy. And it isn't. XLE needs to get to 79, 77, 75. Here's your 4 and 2. Ideally, 75. So it's just not there yet. It's just not there yet. That's off of this wave, of course. I think worst case, it bounces and fails in a higher degree. Like there is a worst case scenario where it bounces and fails and comes back down to 61 in a longer drawn out correction. But we won't worry about that because we should get a bounce here. And then we can see how the rest of the sector trades after that bounce. Okay, BAMA, BTU is in the buy area, but I do believe because of this dynamic, it will go lower until energy bottoms. Now, if energy starts to run, BTU's out, is gone. It's going to go with energy. So this chart is your map. It's your roadmap into all those energy and commodity plays. And right now, this chart in oil are telling you those stocks are all going lower for now. Okay, they're all going lower for now. But are they going to be incredible investment long opportunities? They will, because guess what happens when this bottoms? Okay, just understand the bigger picture. When oil bottoms here, guess what comes? Why? And guess what this says? Oh yeah, you're reading it. That's the price of oil, guys. That's what's coming. That's coming. What do you think energy? What do you think Indo? What do you think all those stocks are going to do when this happens? You know what I'm saying, right? But before that, we need pain. We need suffering. We need misery and fear and capitulation, and that is coming. And then more than likely, they're going to overstimulate the economy again to get things recharged, and then they'll lose control of inflation, and that'll be that. That's probably what's going to happen. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, that's just my guess. But this decline in oil could go even lower. It could go to 30, 20 even. I mean, it could really be a massive deflationary thing, and then they'll save the energy market. They'll save, and then it goes, and then it's like, oh no. And then I think when this happens, the grand super cycle's over, and the stock market and everything melts down. Financial crisis, Armageddon, you name it. Right around, go figure, probably when Trump leaves office. That's what I'm thinking. But right now, I think we got deflation is our worry. We got a deflationary impulse that needs to work its way through, and I think Trump wants that because he wants lower rates. So I think he's encouraging this and wants it. So anyway, the bottom can easily fall below 2.2 because it could be turned into a big ABC flat. So I think the best way to time Indo is to watch oil. When we get a sign of reversal in oil, the commodity, then go shopping for oil. Until then, I would just ignore those symbols. I don't even look at the energy symbols, guys. I don't even look at them because why would I assume and buy anything energy related if I think this is going to happen? Right? I'd have to be a moron, right? Why would I do that? I would have to be a fool, an idiot to buy energy stocks, and I'm sitting here telling you oil's going to 56 or lower, right? That would be stupid to say that. So you have to understand what I'm saying, okay? Now, if we break out of the connector, it changes everything, but we haven't done that. It's trying to right now. They are trying to save the energy market. They really are trying to do that. But will they be successful? I think we'll know pretty soon. So going back to BTU again. So BTU has an investment box that using our Fibonacci system that we're using. But again, using the correlations with oil, it should go lower. That's why I would be careful buying it here. Where did we get this box from? Again, our system is correlated through a three-swing area, something like this here, just like I did there. You get our box. But you see, I said a 1097, but theoretically it could go all the way to 516. So it's actually a really big area. This is more conservative area for an immediate bounce and reaction. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes lower. So if you're trying to buy it, you have to understand the bigger picture where you should just take small nibbles as it's coming down. Again, there could be coal specific or company specific news to pump it, but I think it's likely to go, and then you have your 4 and your 2, and a lot of times we see the market correct back right about here, and that would be about $8 in this area, $9. So if you buy a 13, you may need to hold through 9 or 8, but what does the future look like? You won't care in the future whether you bought it at 13 or 8 or 9 or 10 when it's trading at 50 or 60 or 70 or higher, right? You won't care, but you do care in watching your portfolio go down, and then you panic sell. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is a long-term investment opportunity in this company. Nothing's guaranteed. It could still go to zero, right? But this is the area. If you believe in it, your conviction in it, this is where you have to start buying, because you never know. If let's say that connector breaks out, guess what? It's going to be done. If that oil connector wants to extend and energy decides to reverse here, it's done. It's done, and then it's off. And then so that's why you have to start to buy a little bit, but understand the bigger area and just buy a little bit at a time over time, and you should be okay. Slowly, nibbling through this area, and it's should take time to come out. But if you're patient and have a longer term horizon, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. But this is it. This was the area. And again, we're not FOMOing in the connector. So it's kind of, we've been waiting for this moment, but I still think it's got more downside. Okay. TLT has been a pretty easy one. Again, bonds I don't care about bonds. I don't even look at them. There's one level I'm looking for, and I'll go along the TLT, and it's right there. Okay, because I think we're going to get the whipsaw. I think it's likely we're going to get a whipsaw here. It looks like we're in a connector in B, and then I want to buy the TLT at 78, 75, 74, and then try to play the whipsaw and see what happens. I think it's worth a shot. But I think this is just a connector. It's possible. Yeah, it's a connector. So it's possibly got more upside, and then a massive reversal, like a rug pull, like no one, it's going to surprise the hell out of everyone, right? It's going to surprise the hell out of everyone when this finishes, right? A, B, C, so it's 1, 2, so it's probably going to come back up to 96, somewhere around there, and then bam, and then my guess is it won't extend because it could, would it start its next cycle lower and go into the abyss? It's possible. That's why we'll stop out at 70, but I'm going to try to play this, and then we have this, right? That is probably overstimulates the economy, right? This is probably, when we get here, oil's at its low, finally, wherever that is. This is, oh my God, deflation, overstimulate the economy, print, whatever they do, lower rates to zero, and then, oh no, what did I do? And inflation is just run away. Oil goes to triple digits, and it's commodity super cycle. And so when we have a deflationary pullback, if that happens in oil, we need to load up on a commodities for wave 3 of the grand super cycle and the commodity cycle. That is where you're going to want to be. You're not going to want to be in tech. Tech is topping out for potentially a long-term top in a 4s and 5s on the grand super cycle with eventually a crash. The commodity cycle is different. It's got a wave 3 coming, okay, of a grand super cycle degree. We want to be in that. We want to be in commodities, but not now. Right now it's going to be tough, even with gold and silver and all that. But eventually that will all recover and do really well. I think it's going to do really well. Okay, I think it's going to do really well. Commodities is what I'm thinking, but not now, not yet. Okay. Amazon is. I'm surprised at its weakness. I'll be honest with you. I do understand the fundamentals too, and I'm just surprised it's so weak. Again, I'm not sure what might have been said, in their earnings call, but something obviously spooked somebody, some big funds, because they're getting out. But the chart on Amazon is pretty straightforward. I still have this bullish 1-2, 1-2 setup. Now we have this three-wave move down, really sharp move. You really need this low to hold at 204. You really want this low to hold at 204. And we didn't. You see, we erased divergence, so this is a 3-swing move. So now that as long as you're below 219.96, it's going to be under pressure by short sellers, sell bots, the algos, and they're going to try to bust this thing down. And they're going to try to bust it down all the way to 180 or lower. And that's the next area. If this low breaks, if this low doesn't break, then the 2 is done, and that's a 1-2 right here, some kind of 1-2, and it's just gonna keep going. So once we take this high out, you can get more bullish on Amazon. Until then, this bear case is still possible, but once you break the low, then essentially it's start to short it. Every pop is going to be shortable at there, and then there's no point of buying it until it gets down here. Every pop will be a short opportunity, and I'm again not sure the reasons fundamentally why, but maybe again the market senses something that we don't. But this is a very strong sell-off, well below where normally would have expected, and the reaction was a pretty sharp rejection reversal. We get that follow through tomorrow and break that low, it's over. It's coming down here. It's coming down here. Okay. Now, of course, in X, it can chop around, right? You could always do this. right? But that would be a short opportunity if that happens, okay? But for now, I'm labeling it like this. Worst case scenario, there's your box, there's your low. Devon Energy is showing more downside is needed in the commodity sector. Let's take a look if it was able to recover any of its highs to reverse the forecast. Let's take a look at what we're trading here. So we have this WXY. So it looks like you see how we broke that high there. That could be bullish potentially, but let's just check out some divergences. You see, you got that divergence. So that's bullish here. We haven't taken this peak out, so it's still the same correction. It isn't. So we're still in this corrective move on this leg. So it's not like the correction's over, right? It's over. Not yet. It could be, depending on the reaction higher. So it should go higher based on breaking this high. So that's maybe a clue. The energy market maybe we'll try to bust out with this connector on the oil like I showed before, the alternate picture. But this is the area it could get slammed back down at 41.66. So the question is, when it gets up to here on 41.66, will it have taken this peak out? It should take this peak out, be very close. Close call here. Let's look at the daily. More importantly, we want to take the daily out or the trend line. Let's take a look at the trend line here. Again, well, you see, we don't really have a good trend line because we don't have a pivot to work against. Let me just take another look at this here. Yeah, so this cycle is this leg we're correcting. We need to know about, so we have to go to the weekly. Again, I'm just trying to think out loud here. All right, there we go. There's our pivot. Okay, so the correction doesn't end in Devon Energy until this line breaks. So we need to spike above this line with this pump in X. Once that happens, there's no more leg down. That's the bottom. That's the low. That's the low. But until then, it's still in the corrective phase of the final leg. So you can't assume that it's all clear. So we have to label it this way. But if we pump up here and pump up and take that trend line out, then the correction is over and the bottom is in. And it's a bull market, and again, that's a first clue that energy may have bottomed. But I think before that ever happens, XLE will probably break higher. We'll know already. We would already know to get aggressive, right? Because if the XLE breaks higher, it takes these highs out, then it's like more than likely all these energy stocks are pretty much at lows or near lows. And let's go shopping. Let's go shopping. All right, that's what this would tell me. Time to go shopping. All right. But right now, it's like I don't even care about energy. I just don't care about any of these stocks until we get some breakout. And look, even Chevron, we're trying, but it's got to come back and take these highs out. It's just not. We haven't done it. It's right on the edge here. It's just trying, right on the cusp, just like oil. Right, we're right on the cliff. Are we on a cliff of a major catastrophe in energy, or are we on a major pump? Big decision. And I don't try to guess. I just react to the decision when it happens. So let's let the market decide. Oh, that's not good. That's not good in Bitcoin. But we already knew it's taking another leg lower. Not surprising. All right. So then oil here. Again, oil could be on the edge of the cliff, ready to go down. But if it wants to come out and bring this connector back up to 102, then yeah, we'll get bullish on energy. But guess what? Then there'll be a rug pull later. Okay, a rug pull later. Eventually, you have to pay the piper. Eventually, it's coming down here. One way or the other, it's coming down here. So let's get it over with. I'm like, let's get it over with and be done with it. Okay, Reed, Donut, and T-Doc. Again, I don't recommend any of the small cap stocks with the Russell breaking down. And I'm sure everyone that's listening hears that. No one should be buying any of those. They should, if you have profit, it's probably a good idea to take any profit and take the money and run until the Russell stabilizes. So Donut here, you've got this 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Boom, there's our 3 of 3. So it looks like it needs 4s and 5s to play out, right? It looks like it needs some 4s and 5s that haven't finished. So it looks like there'll be still more downside, and then it has a possible major low, right? Look at all those 4s and 5s. So it's really not time yet to buy it. The ideal time, of course, the box goes to 0. So it's basically, if you're buying here, you're buying against bankruptcy, essentially. That's your stop loss is 0. So you basically have to buy it with money you don't really care to ever lose, because it can go, I guess, go zero, go bankrupt. And I don't know if it's in a financial crisis at the moment, but this chart tells me that uh, it's possible that it could go down to, maybe, I'm thinking about $4, somewhere around there is probably where it bottoms out. All right, and then Teladoc is another one that is getting destroyed by the Russell index. Again, I'm just telling people the obvious, right? You don't want to hold stocks that are in that index. It doesn't matter what they were doing before; it's where they're going to go. If the index is toast, it's going to take everything down with it. So right now we have a corrective move. We never got the fifth wave, so it's just a corrective bounce, and that's all we got. And because of that, we have to be more bearish on it with the break of the trend line. So we didn't get the 4 and 5 we want it. So that trade is dead. To me, that trade is dead now. Hopefully, we got in on it here. There was a lot of profit to be made. That's why I always say take some profit, take profit all the time. But if you got in right, now if you chased it up here, well, that's a lesson you learned, and you learned the hard way. But now it's in a corrective move. So unfortunately, this low really has to hold at 683, because I'm sure this corrective bounce reset the whole damn cycle. Let's look just to see. Yeah, it totally did. Let's go to the weekly. See, it reset the whole cycle. So it has to hold that low. If it can't hold that low, it's in a potential catastrophe situation technically, and I wouldn't want to be in it for sure. Now, if it can hold the low, this could turn into a couple things. It could still turn into a 1-2-1-2. That would be the best. And you see, we did respect 871, right? So I guess there's hope, but I think if the Russell index is going lower, I doubt this will continue higher. But there is a 1-2-1-2. That's the only way to save it. 1-2-1-2, and tomorrow it's got to like get some separation to the upside, so that it could absorb more downside in the Russell. If it can't do that, it's probably breaking down, and then again you're in this corrective bounce. And the only other bullish scenario is it's some kind of leading diagonal coming out, and it's a 1-2, still off the low. It still respects the 2, and it comes out later, and it respects this low. But there's no way to know for sure. There's no way to know for sure if it's going to do that or break the low, and then just be that'll be the end of it. So we just don't know. So I think you're just going to have to I don't recommend trading it right now until we get the Russell index stabilized, and then we can come back. Once the Russell index is stabilized, we can come back and reassess this trade and see what opportunity may lie in it. But we never got the 4 and 5, and anytime you get a bounce, the only guarantee you can get is 3. Never a 4 and 5 is never guaranteed. We didn't get it, and that's just the way the market works, and that's the way it goes. All right, Eric. Let's take a look at yours. Again, I'm going to my members. If you're not a member, I'll come back to you. Okay, so I'm sorry. I got to go to my members first. Icy. Let's see here. Stay stock here. STAI. Again, all these AI stocks are getting obliterated. They don't seem like they're ready to stop going down. Okay. I need everyone on my channel to understand in their minds the AI sectors are in bear markets. They're going down. They're in corrections. There's a lot of sectors that are emerging into potential bull markets that we track. There's there's things that are bullish that are forming, about to go into wave 3s, and none of them have anything to do with AI. So that's the stuff you need to be in. Okay, that's the stuff you need to be in. Those are the sectors. So here looks like to me you've got a couple possibilities here. We've got a good top here. So there's some good things and bad things about this setup from this low. I think the good thing is you broke the high, and looks like you did it in 5 waves. So it looks like to me you got some kind of A, and you're in some kind of B and C, and then this looks like it needs one more swing down in the impulse. So something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So that's what I'm thinking. And then it should finish up, and then it should be done in your 3-wave move. and then it should see more upside because it broke the high the way it did. That's what I'm thinking. All right, good luck on STAI, and then this WIFI WIF again. This if crypto really can't stabilize until Bitcoin finds a low. There are some bullish altcoins out there. So this one's pretty much been a bear market since its existence. Wow, yeah. That trading view is lagging behind. Probably looks like you got a flat correction. Looks like 5 off the low here. So the good news is it should probably go higher one day, but the bad news is you're in a flat, so it means it could go a lot lower than you envisioned or hoped for. We'll probably, let's go ahead and put that low. I think we'll put that low here and have it like that. So now you got it. Now it's just in an impulse down. Now you just got to kind of go down, and you have a 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and now you're in the 3. See how it probably erased divergence, and it sure did. So again, it's extended to the downside, but at some point this cycle will end, and so will the correction. Probably, obviously, when Bitcoin ends its correction. So I'll probably label this this way: 3, 4, 5, like that, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3, 4, 5, something like that. Now I could also put that there and that there, you know. So there's a lot of possibilities, but tough to say. It looks like maybe the cycle's over. So again, like I said, I could play around with this a little bit, call it finished. But like we saw here, it could just keep going, right? It could just make another 1, 2, right? It could just do another 1 and 2 and just keep going. So we just don't know. I would wait till Bitcoin really gives us confirmation that the low's in, and when it does, this correction will end, and you'll get another wave higher. Okay. NVDL, Nvidia. I think Nvidia's got to get sub 100. I think $80 would be a nice level for the first bounce, but that bounce can fail. You know, so again, you know, I would rather, you know, not try to time NVDL or look for other opportunities. But let's take a look at what we've got going on here. So we had this nice 3-wave move. This low is very important, okay? So this low has to hold in this structure. We had this 1 and 2, right? And we had it coming up. This was the most bullish path that we could find. Now, if we break this low, then it's obviously you have a connector. It's going to take a whole nother swing low. It's going to take this low out. It's going to unravel. So we haven't done it yet. So what this chart indicates is the next couple days is like massively important for Nvidia getting a new all-time high, and I think it's pretty obvious. So so that's the bullish case, still intact. You know, would I buy it? I mean, I would definitely put my stop loss here at 43.63 if I want to try to play that. But it could also see this level potentially here and go down to $30.24 if that breaks. So if this breaks, this is the next area of opportunity, and it would be a big double correction. So it'd be a big corrective move, and we'd come down, and then this would subdivide and come down like that, and then this would also bounce, right? It would need a bounce, and it would do something like that. So that's another path. There's your 4. There's your 2, right? So that puts you right about maybe 23, 24, and that could be the low if this low breaks, but it hasn't yet. So the bull case is alive, and we know that in Nvidia. We looked at that today. That technically could still recover. You know, it still can recover, even though we had that big sell-off today. So if you're still targeting, I would only target that if that low breaks. But I don't trade this. It's not tradable in my system. It's a sidelines instrument. So it doesn't matter what I think. Like, again, It could come here, it could come here. I think ultimately it does end up here one day, but right now it could easily end up here in the short term before it finds the corrective move over. Okay, Bitcoin and XRP. So Bitcoin, I think, has one more swing lower, and I believe it's starting to do that tonight. It looks like tonight is the night. Again, I feel bad for all the dip buyers trying to, overthink the market like a chess game. You guys got to just keep it simple, okay? 5 waves, you had a bounce, and looks like we're coming down in C, so we need another 5 waves. Okay, we need another 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just getting, the party's just getting started to the downside. If this is the right count, I would be expecting 76,000 area, probably a back test, this breakout area, technically, to see if it can hold. 74, this peak, that's probably, it's coming back here. It could even wick in and come back. If it does that, if it does something like that, I mean, you got it. I'm not telling you what to do, but I mean, at some point, you're not going to get any better trade setup than that, because I mean, it still needs, even if it's going to go lower, even if it's going to 0, it still needs to bounce, right? You would think. So you would think that this would be an area it should bounce, even if it would fail and go into the abyss. But this is what I think is going to happen. One more swing lower, and hopefully we'll get that soon. Hopefully we'll get that soon. It's not likely we're still in B now, just because of the way that looks to me. Okay. XRP is just like we said before. We have to just accumulate in our area and wait and wait and wait and wait, and eventually come out of it. And a lot of people just don't have the patience to do that. Let's just take a look at where it's trading today. Let's just take a look at how it's trading. And again, trading view is slowing down, probably because everyone's going to their screens panicking right now. So here's our accumulation zone. We're coming back in it. So again, it's that simple. There's not a lot of technical analysis needed. Here, you accumulate and wait, pump. It's the same thing. You're going to accumulate and wait, pump. That's what you're going to have to do. I mean, that's the only thing to do. Now, of course, you can't sit here forever. I think if it were to go maybe back, let's take a look at our charts here. I would say the best area to stop out at, probably this should be support, resistance, now support. So that's why this line, so 160, a close below 160 puts you back under support, and you probably should get out of the trade. And then because then X will probably swing down lower, and we'll look for a new opportunity. But this is the area I would think should be defended by the bulls. Should be defended, just like it was here in this connector. All right, GameStop. GameStop, guys, is again slave to the Russell index. The only thing I could say about GameStop is if the Russell index could get to below 200, and GameStop, could be a good opportunity. And again, the market trading view is messing up here. I think, like you said, there's a lot of panic right now out there. There's a lot of people over levered. They bought the dip too soon. They followed too many perma-bear accounts, and they bought when they shouldn't have. They didn't use stop loss, and so they're panicking tonight. They're panicking. So here you have 3 and 3 and 3 in the connector. So we need another 3 like that. So my buy area is at $20.31. And then hopefully it finds bottom in 2 right here. A break of that low should open up the door to that level. And you still can't rule out the possibility again of the whipsaw, but it's looking less likely you'll get that. But that would just open up more downside later. So it's looking more likely you'll get this next leg lower soon, and then we'll look to buy it later. And then RGTI, I think that's a quantum stock. Yeah, we've avoided quantum stocks. Again, we're not even looking at them. Let's take a look at this one and see if I got this one charted. I think I do. It looks like I do. here. And again, yeah, trade in view is really messing up here. So we're in this Y wave, and we have 3, and we're in 3, and we have the first connector here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have your connector, or maybe it's in 3. It doesn't matter. And your last swing down, you have 1, 2, one more. So it should have another push lower, but then that should be it. It does look like we have 5 down here, and typically you need at least another 5 down to actually end it, but we were in a connector. So it's tough to say. It could do a couple things. It could also do this. It could do something like WXY and then make the next move lower, down like this, and then out. Or it could finish the impulse right here, right? It could finish the impulse here. 1, 2, and then this could be a 1, 2 as well. And then just finish this impulse here. Okay, just like that. You see what I'm saying? Just like that. All right, just give me 1 second, guys. I just need to get something. I'll take a little break. Hold on. Okay, so anyway, there we go. So that's that one's tougher because I think it could take the 3, 3, 3 up. The connector could play out, but because it's got 5 down, its chances are that whatever this is will break this low at some point, and it may do it just like this here, and then it would make probably a full round trip back, and then it builds it back up again. But it's tough to say. It could do the 3. If it does the 3, it'll just it should end pretty soon. Actually, looking at this chart. Okay. Again, I just go to my members first, and then I'll go to the non-members. Joe, let's take a look at AAOI. Let's take a look here. And looks like it is in our area. We got the bounce, right? Got a bounce, and then it failed. So it's going to take another leg lower. Now remember, there's no guarantee for wave 5, right? You never get a 5 guarantee. So it's looking less likely you're going to get a 5. It's looking like a corrective bounce. And a corrective bounce means it may never come back to these highs ever again. So you have to be careful. So you have a corrective bounce, and now you have a lower low. So the market should take this lower. So you did get a little bit of a bounce, but it failed. So now it opens up the door for a whole nother leg lower and potential short opportunities. So it'd be 1021, 505 would be the next area of support, somewhere in this area. But again, it could whipsaw around the connector in a lot of different ways. It could do something like that. But if you did that, I would dump it and short it here because it more than likely would make it back down. So I think this is kind of the setup that I would see, but unfortunately you broke the low, so you're going to have continuation, the cycle, this reset the cycle here. So I definitely see more downside, and now you could still get a 3-wave move, a bigger one potentially. So I don't want to give you, make it hopeless. You could get something like that. That's always possible, but that's not guaranteed either. So this would be the area it could react higher. Or if you're short in it, you'd want to cover your shorts. Okay, possible entry 19-ish. I think it goes lower because it broke that low and this reset the cycle. All right. I don't look at the retrace. I'm just looking at a 3-wave move that's over, that's ended, and it's breaking down. I mean, it's obvious, right? You look at the chart, it's breaking down. It should go lower. It's probably not, even if it whipsaws around. If it whipsaws back up, it's a short opportunity. It's not really a long opportunity because it broke the low in my system. All right. All right. Next, just going to my next member here. Let's go to the next one. BYND. Beyond Meat. That's one we haven't been asked that for a long time. I don't even know if I have this charted. There we go. So tried to defend this box and it failed. So what that did is it reset the connector. It reset the connector here, so it's taking a whole nother leg lower. right? That's what it ended up doing, right? It tried to defend the box and it failed. I wonder if it's going bankrupt. Let's take a look. A lot of capitulation there, and then it still went lower. So this could be on the path to bankruptcy, a go to zero chart. Honestly, not sure what's going on with the company. This reset that whole cycle, so you have some kind of A, B, and now you have a C, so you need to finish an impulse all the way down. So we could try to label it like a 1, 2, like this, and then another 1, 2. Okay, then another 1, 2, very bearish, and then this looks like your first 4. Okay, so if this can finish out, again, it's got a lot of work to do, then and still be in existence. It could find a low, technically, but this has to play out, and once it's done, then who knows what can happen. I definitely get a big pump. I mean, after that move, after this is finished. The good thing is it looks like your 3 is done. Your 3 is done. So the good news is probably most of the selling is over, and you just got this like bottoming process to go through, more than likely, unless you get an extension, and this becomes another 1, 2. But you'll know that soon enough. Open. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look here. Open Door Technologies. It looks like it's a go to zero stock again, but we'll trade this from the low. Here, looks like you've got a 1, 2, 3, just a corrective move. So again, it could take a whole nother leg lower and go to zero. Like I said, once it breaks 94 cents, it's over. You do have, so there's no guarantee. Now, it does look like there's 5 waves down here. So maybe you can get a counter trend rally that you could maybe do something with. But you see, this isn't enough extension. So more than likely, it's let's take a look here. You're still in the corrective move, so you're really in this leg. You're in this leg. So it's hard to label it because there's too many possibilities, but I'll just label it the best way I think it looks at the moment. Something like that. And then something like this. And pops we're still in 2. Where we rally back up real quick. Again, it looks like to me it's ready for a 3 moment to the downside. It's ready for a collapse to the downside. If this count is right. If this is the count, it's about to collapse to the downside. Okay, if that count is right. The only reason it could be bearish is if this is corrective. Now, the other option, again, because this is something I would never trade, never want to be in, but since it's down in 3 potentially, maybe we could get lucky with it. Maybe it could do something like this. But we need to erase divergence. We need to take these peaks out. So that's not going to work either. Yeah, I think it's pretty bearish. I think it's got a big breakdown coming. It still could be in a different degree wave 2, but I think ultimately this low is going to get taken out and you're going to have a big gap down. Okay, and then Archer, we've been watching Archer, staying away from it again. Not interested in it until the Russell can bottom. Once the Russell bottoms, we can get more interested in this stock here. Sorry, here, and we've avoided it. I think it hit an area that seemed unthinkable when I first gave it to my members earlier, but now it seems possible. Now people are believing in the unthinkable. Our box is at 615, but I don't want to buy it now. If the Russell's sub 200. Then maybe you want to give it a shot here. Maybe you want to give it a shot here. Okay, this looks like it's an ABC correction, and a 1, 2, 3, 4 looks like it needs a little more downside. The worst case, it's a 1, 2, or a 1, 2, 1, 2, and it has much more separation. But I think it's got more downside. It's got more downside. I think it's got to go lower. down to this area, and then it should make another swing higher. It should make another swing higher. So whenever this corrective move ends also, so if it truncates, we'll see it move sooner, and then we can maybe get more aggressive. But again, it looks like something like this to me. But looking at this bounce, I'd be very careful, again, how this subdivides, that this isn't a 1-2, 1-2, or something else. I think it can go lower. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, it's probably going lower. Yeah, I think let me take a look at the 15-minute on it for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a full impulse. So so if this low breaks, it's a 1, 2. It'll do that. Okay, if that low breaks. If the low holds, and we could come back and take this high out, then I guess you have to say it truncated because the corrective move is over. It's over. It's truncated. And then you can be more aggressive buying it on pullbacks. But I wouldn't buy it now. I would be worried that we break 751 and then it becomes a 1, 2, and now, and that's what I would be worried about. So be careful in it. But this low has to break to open up the bearish case. If you can save it and can run and retake this peak, then maybe it has bottomed, because technically I see the impulse tight. It's tight. It has everything. Here's our 4. Here's our 2. We put it there. I would put it there, and then it's gonna go higher. Go higher. The Jumio is another one we dumped, and that was a sign the Russell was going to break down, right? Because that was in a go to zero moment, back into the low chart that failed. So that's a sign that something very bearish is going on, and market structure is starting to fall apart, right? Because typically when stocks break pivots that show that they're going to go to zero, that's not common. That's why buying stocks in those setups is usually okay. But unfortunately, as you can see, you broke the all-time low. Oh, I'm sorry. You're about to break the all-time low right there. Where is it? Right here. Right around this area. $2. I think it's going to break. And then it's going to be a go to zero. A go to zero. I wouldn't trade it. The structure is completely broken. I don't even have it labeled. I mean, we had it bullish from this pivot because we had to back into the low, because the alternative case was essentially go to zero. So it's not something you want to be in, because essentially all these buyers will be trapped and they'll panic, and something obviously is fundamentally wrong with the company once this low breaks. I think it's going to break. I think it's destined to break it. And then we'll have to then you just trace out the impulses, right? And they're just going to go all the way down. And it's just the way it goes. And another one bites the dust. And again, maybe this is telling us there's a lot worse news in the economy than we realize, or something, you know. That will break down, and that's it. I mean, it's over. So I think that's where it's heading. It looks like you have 5 down here, a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3 of 3, and it should play out more 4s and 5s at least, or extend. And then this was just a big corrective bounce that kind of tried to, basically fooled the traders, maybe even off of this low, which RK may be doing to people. Could have been something like that, just a big connector that finished up here, and now would take a whole nother leg lower. Okay. All right, guys. Donald, TSLL is in an area for a bounce, but I think it goes lower. I mean, the chart says it should bounce, but I mentioned before, the people that followed me, that you can't buy it until Tesla stabilizes, because of course it's correlated to Tesla, right? So, but the box is bigger. It's a bigger box. I believe we're going to come down to the $9 area potentially down here into this area. You have this gap here. It's probably going to fill. It may even come out of the box. The best setup, again, we may even erase divergence even, but the best way to time any entry into that is to watch Tesla. And again, you know, we were trading Tesla. We did okay with it. We got the bounce where we expected. Has zero risk position. Stopped out with almost essentially no loss, so we made a little bit of money. And now it's been in free fall, and it could continue lower. And guess what? It can go all the way down to $208. TSLL could get annihilated, right? So you don't want to. So we can't buy that knowing this could happen. Now the alternative picture, there is an alternative view. Perhaps this is the count, right? Perhaps this is the count where you have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get a bounce, and then TSL gets a bounce, and we come back up to like 372, and then we get the next leg lower, right? We get the next leg lower later. That's possible, okay? So we don't know. We haven't erased divergence, so it could still be a 5. And so this is probably the conservative view. So why don't we go with this one for now? But you know, I just showed this other view just so my members didn't do something stupid, okay, here. Because I'm showing you guys, it can get really ugly really fast. Because I know a lot of people, for some reason, are buying it here, and I don't think they understand and appreciate the risk. Again, we don't sell wave 5 tops because it can extend, and we don't buy wave 5 bottoms because it can extend. We don't do that in our system. And they may learn a hard lesson doing that, buying the dip here, thinking it's a 5th wave. We won't take that chance. But this is the worst case scenario. I'm showing you the worst case scenario. The best case, it's a 5. We relief rally, then we come down. TSL will have a good day. That happens. And it's set up to somewhat do that. UVIX, I think, is about to break out. It's about to break out. If you follow me on Twitter, you're not surprised. We've been watching it. UVIX is telling you that maybe the sell in the market hasn't even started yet. And there it is, right? There's my UVIX, right? It's not pretty, but left shoulder ahead. There's our right shoulder. Look, we're right on the doorstep. What if we broke out earlier, right? What if we were breaking out earlier? You know? Guess what? Once that happens, you have to use your imagination how high it can go, because last time it went look how high it went last time. I mean, it could do that. It could do just as high. There's no reason for it not to. We don't know. So I think the Bears have it on the tee again, right? It's set up perfectly going into the news event tomorrow. I mean, it's perfect setup for a market calamity. So if I look at the chart though, there's possibility for further consolidation on the UVIX because we did not take out 33.91. If we take out 33.91, I think it's coming out. So we didn't do that. So what this means is you probably have some kind of 1, 2, and then it's a connector. So perhaps the connector swings back down. It gives you a relief rally, right? Perhaps you get something like this. And then you come back down to 27.43. And then you can maybe try to enter the trade again, down here. And then you get the bottom of this, right shoulder, right? It does something like this before it comes out. So just think about it, right? Of course, this low has to hold. It looks like you have 5 up off that low. Okay, that's what it looks like to me, right? And then you come here, and then it builds off this bottom, and then it comes out. Something like that. That's probably the most likely path, which would be relief rally. Tomorrow's news is positive, relief rally, happy-go-lucky, and then, oh no. The other, but you can't, like I said, you can't rule out that it's already over, and tomorrow will be a catastrophe in the market. Uncontrollable selling, You know, just a complete other calamity. Can't rule that out. That's what this chart says. We don't know. I guess we'll know tomorrow. We don't know tomorrow. If you were buying the UVIX, there was a buy here, potentially speculative, and I even gave a speculative buy on my market update, right? I basically gave you like how if I was trying to teach junior trade, you could just you see you had this little bit of a rally here, you pulled back, so and then you bounced and broke the high, so then you could just buy it here against that low, buy it here against that low, and just see what happens. And I mean, so there was ways to trade this area, but it wasn't it wasn't a good setup. But there's ways to hedge yourself, right? There's a lot of ways to hedge yourself. So just know that but it may be too late. I mean, maybe it's not too late. Maybe this hasn't broken out. Maybe we can get in on it. But I think once you take that high out, I think it's going to open up the door for this move. And again, I don't know if it's going to do something crazy like this, but it could. The conditions are there for that with the Japanese yen and all. The conditions are there, but we should at least jump maybe to 44, 48. I'm thinking. Okay, and again just kind of going through my members, and then I'll get to the non-members here. LAES. Let's take a look at that. And that one is coming off the low. It looks like it's right at our area there. So it's trying to find buyers. It's trying to defend our area. It wants to come out. So it's very it's got to turn here. It's got to turn, and it's indecision. The market's indecisive. So that could be the low, and we could be ready to turn tomorrow off of it. So we just don't know. But if that low breaks, obviously it'll take a whole nother leg lower, and we kind of know what that means. Looking at all these other symbols, okay. So I think it's very like market buy it at $3, put your stop at 274, and you could get a big low risk high reward setup. I mean, that's what this looks like to me, but nothing's guaranteed. It may not happen. It may not happen, but it looks good. All right. Next is again the VX1 futures. I'll take a look at that and take a look at that here. Let's take a look. Again, I don't have time to label the whole thing, but let's take a look here. I guess I must have looked at it one time ago. Let me get rid of here, remove. Okay, so probably some kind of ABC right off this peak, whatever that peak is. Again, we'll come off this peak, and then you're in right some kind of W, and well, let's go back. Sorry, let's rewind this and go back from this low. 3 up, W, X, Y. So if that's X and finish the 3 waves in an ABC, Y, right? And then you have W or A would be better. It looks like an A, and then a B, A, B, C, D, E, like here, and out, and a triangle, and we're coming out. And we should take this peak out when this is done. We should take this peak out. So that's what I see on this leg right here. That's what I see. Again, I'm not sure. I don't have the whole thing charted, but it looks like to me we need Y, we need C. It should take this peak out. And if this looks like it's already breaking out, right? It looks like you have a breakout of the pattern, right? So it's bullish. You have a bullish breakout, right? Off of the low. Let's see if we can find where we are with this. A, B, C, D, and you put E here. Well, maybe it's more bearish. Maybe it's more bullish than we thought, because it doesn't look like a triangle. Actually, looking at it, it looks like maybe something different. Definitely an A up, 3 down here. So A, B, so C, B, A, B, C. So put W here. Again, I'm just trying to see how to label this connector. W, X, maybe like that. See, this is kind of what I originally had. I think this is what I originally had on the VIX. That's why I thought we'd still get more continuation too. So we gotta be careful. We gotta still be careful, right? Maybe we're not in Y just yet, but we're still in this X. Okay, so this is a conservative view, right? I mean, I can always see what I want to see, but this could be it. You get some kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. This shows that maybe the market has one more thrust lower, right? If you look at the triple Qs, that makes sense based on this forecast, my triple Q forecast, right? The triple Q forecast, look, we're close. We're close to the area, see? Just a little bit more. And then we should go higher. That's my primary forecast, guys. I'm not forecasting a catastrophe yet. I'm forecasting that. What I'm hoping for is we get into here, we go higher, and then what I'm hoping for is the Japanese yen ends up here, and then we can like rebound and we can recover, and then the VIX could go down, and things can pump again and run, form connectors and do whatever. But make no mistake, at some point, Y is coming. That Y wave in the VIX is coming, right? So the question is, are we in it now or not? Are we in it now or not? The UVIX suggests we may be in it, but the UVIX can just build higher. It's not really. So I think we have to be careful being too bearish, but you're gonna this is too hard to label, and so I think the smart thing to do is look. You have a breakout. You're going higher. It should go higher, and I can label this and probably stare at it a lot of different ways and put the B here and then show we're in Y. And then you'll get a much bigger meltdown. Okay? And then if it's Y, right, then the top's already in of the major cycle. Right? This major cycle. And sucks TradingView is so slow tonight. This major cycle in 3 is already done. It's already done right here. Like that, and then this is a flat, and it's just going to come all the way down to 510. 4 will come down to 510, and that'll be that. So we don't know, and of course the Qs would break those levels I showed earlier. The Qs would come back if that happens. Break these levels, of course, and then this too would probably come back to retest this low at 535, 520, somewhere down here. So I guess we just don't know. So that's why you got to respect the market conditions. But the UVIX really does concern me, the way that looks. And again, just kind of going to members. It looks like I got through all my members. I'm going to start back at the top and go to all the non-members, and I'll get to everyone's super chat. So GER again. Let's go to GER again. There's these big corrections, and hopefully we'll get some stabilization in the market like I showed earlier, and we will be okay. But let's take a look at this one. I think I have it. So I thought I had it up here. There it is. Looks like we got a relief rally today. Okay, there we go. So it looks like you've got 5 down. It could be an impulse off the low. That would be positive. See, I don't really see the divergence. So it looks like a connector. It doesn't look like we went deep enough. Normally you have to come back to the wave 4. Now if we could take this high back out at 26, at this 2683, then that sets you up, and you would have to assume that this cycle's over, and either you'll extend in 5, or it will the connector will continue. But you still need to. It doesn't. To me, I mean, I'll just give you my honest opinion. It doesn't look like the correction went deep enough, and it needs another swing lower. Now, if that's the case, and this was the peak, and we're going to break down, we could project the next target to buy it at, and that would be at 1187, 835, right at the wave 4, which is typically where we see these corrections end. So that's probably where we're going, but it's not guaranteed. It's kind of in an indecisive area. Okay, cool. Thanks, Ryan, for coming back. CIFR. Let's take a look at CIFR for you. CIFR, a mining stock. Mining stocks are really tricky because of the precious metals sector. You know, with gold and potentially silver breaking down, is always risky here. So we had this 5-wave move up. We had 3 down, but see how we broke the low? That implies we may have a bigger connector here, and we'll come back and take this low out with that impulse on the top here. So we're probably still in wave 2, unfortunately. And a lot of the miners look like this. They have this kind of looking chart, and that would give us some kind of A, B, C, and then you come back down in Y, or probably a flat. So we'll come back down in a flat here and an A, B, C. And so we need a 5-wave move down, and I think we're about to get that. And I think this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1, 2, and that looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, so 3, 4, 5. I think we just break that low. We probably respect, obviously, the all-time low, but it looks like it's got a little more downside to finish out this correction. Okay, good luck on that. And I think a lot of the miners look this way at the moment. Okay, just kind of going through the comments. Okay, Eric, Mera, let's take a look at Mera. Mera Pharmaceuticals, let's check that one out. See how that's doing. And I thought I had this one labeled. So we're trying to get this push into this area. So it's reluctantly, you know, it doesn't want to get there. We did break that low here. So looking at it, let's see, you have 1, 2, 3 connector, and then an A. So this looks like 5 down here. So looking at this again, because you have 5 down on this leg, here it's more than likely you've got some kind of let's see here, I'm just kind of thinking out loud. We have to kind of change this from a W to an A. It doesn't support it, but I think we could, if I look at this again, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and B, and then C. So it's something like that. So I think just kind of trying to adapt the wave count to what I'm seeing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like an A, a B, and then a C. And then you had a connector, and then you came down again, and you should come down in another ABC pattern to mirror that. And there's your A, there's your B, and now your C. And we should finish an impulse, and that should finish the correction. It should finish it, and then get into the area we were hoping for. Right? And again, I'm trying to do this 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's still got more downside, it looks like, to finish the impulse, but I think the meat of the move hopefully is over. But I think, as you could see, it's got to play out more. My guess is the best way to time the bottom of this too is with the Russell, you know, 200, sub 200, and the XBI. The XBI has to also be, sorry here, get rid of that. The XBI, we want the XBI to be 76. When the XBI is 76 and the Russell is around that low 200 or sub 200, and Mera is hopefully trading at those 2 points and the area I showed earlier and here somewhere. It's ready to roll. It should be ready to roll, and as long as it's above this low, it should be ready to go. That would be a good setup, and then you'd have this nice WXY correction, and that's what I think you've got here. Maybe we can pinpoint our entry a little bit. So this could be the worst case level right there. Right there, 66 cents is pot. So it could go pretty deep in this box. So just be careful. That could be tagged. That could be tagged. But as you can see, it's got more downside that needs to play out. Now the alternative view, there's always an alternative view, is we're still in B and it stays erratic. But eventually you've got to get this move, this impulse done in C. You've got to complete the corrective move. All right, thanks for the super chat. Yes, so I'll do AI again. I would say, you know, we don't really care about the oversold or how good its earnings report is. That's why, you know, my system's kind of unique, and people, you know, kind of are attracted to it because it kind of, we don't really care about all that. We just care about the way the chart looks. We do care about RSI to some extent, but not the way that most traditional folks look at it. It is oversold, and that's good. We call that a ratio of divergence. So that signifies that the move should be coming to an end. But again, we have to look at what degree the correction is in and where that divergence occurs. So you want to see that divergence occur after this low breaks, which you haven't done yet. It hasn't happened. And then also, as you can see, this we need to be oversold, but we have to be more oversold than we were here. So this needs to come down. And we even need to take this out too. So it's got to get oversold, but it's got to get more oversold than it was even back here to really end this correction. So unfortunately, it's got to get more oversold. That's the thing. You know, that's the thing. And now you look here, you have 3 and 3 and 3. So hopefully you're at the end of the move, not the beginning. You're at the very end, hopefully the last stages of the correction. And you hopefully are getting close, right? You want to hopefully you get close. It looks like you see how you had the reset of the cycle right there, but then you broke the low. So it looks like you have a wave 3 moment on the horizon. You see, that's what's in front of you, that capitulation. See, a lot of people would be like, oh, we've already done. No, you just completed wave 1 and 2. You're about to go into a 3 of 3 moment. In this stock, which will be your capitulation move, where people maybe like yourself that bought it too soon are going to dump it, and they're going to just get out and the pain's going to be too much for them to take. And that's what's going to happen more than likely, and then it will find the bottom. Okay, then just kind of scanning through the comments real quick. VITL, let's take a look at that for you. VITL. Okay, that's a different one here. Vital Farms. Interesting looking chart. Not a lot of data. Oh, there we go. Just trading view must be, you know, really slow tonight. So you know, just kind of looking at this right away, you got, you know, damn, it's still loading data. It's crazy. Yeah, trading view is just messing up. Okay. Couple things. You see how we broke that high? That's really bullish. Okay. Now, you always get a pullback here. Now you have this big cup and handle. So we see this a lot, but we want to, because we broke the high, that's a good sign. Now you look here, that only looks like 3 waves. So it may be, the worst case scenario is it does this like crazy flat, right? It does a crazy flat and destroys everybody, right? And then only after you dump it, then it decides to make its wave 3 and go vertical. That's what flats do. Because it broke the high, it will find support and come out. And usually it V bottoms. Flats usually V bottom and usually crash if it's a flat. So I think we'll know pretty soon. Now the problem I've got is it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be a flat. It could be a wave 4 off this peak here. and then we could come out. So it's just like we just don't know. But I think if you break this 2786, you have to be concerned of the flat correction. Okay, you have to be concerned of the flat correction, and then this would be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if it's a 4 here, this again, this looks like an A. It would have to be some kind of A, B, C. Now, see that divergence there? That's a warning sign that maybe it is a flat. So just be careful if you're in it. You know, you don't see that capitulation that you normally see typically. So I would be careful you're not in a setup for a flat. And the label would be this, and then you'll have right here a 1, 2, and it's about to do 3 of 3 to the downside. So you have to just be careful you're not in it. But if you are in a flat, it will be supported and you'll come out eventually. But it'll be a lot of pain, a lot of suffering here. But it does, you know, from an Elliott wave theory standpoint, it could still be saved. I think as long as you stay above 27.99, you could still have this fourth wave, because this is too big to be a 4 wave, right? That would be, because it's all, so that would be a whole new cycle. It wouldn't be a 4 in you probably end up breaking this too. So I think I would say that if this breaks, it's probably flat. But for now, I would just label it as a 1, 2, and again until that low breaks, and then hopefully you know, that doesn't happen to you, and you get something like this, and then you get a bigger pullback. Let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, you see how you finished. That's typically a 3 swing flat. That's usually how flats are set up. So just be careful. But the good thing is, one day it will be out. It will be up here one day. If you know, I think it'll be up here one day. But you may have to go all the way back to these lows. It may have to go back all the way to those lows again. All right, just so I think go into my non-members. NTR. Nutrien was one we liked, and then started breaking down on us, so the chart wasn't good. But maybe we have a tradable bounce here. Let's take a look here and see what we got. All right, yeah, so we're trying to play this counter trend rally, and it looks like that's what's happening here. So again, guys, these are the stocks you really want to be in, right? Not the other stuff, because this stuff is starting to run, but I think it's short-lived. But for the time being, it looks okay, and we broke the high. So I think it's good. If it wants to pull back in a flat, I think it's buyable. I think it's buyable here. So this would be buyable. You know, right around 48. That'd be a good trade setup opportunity. Okay, and we'll keep an eye on that. Want to keep an eye on that because it's different, and ideally it could be 47.30. This area right here. Okay, DML. Let's take a look at that. And again, it may not do that flat, by the way. It could just keep going higher. So DML did not, well, we didn't bounce where we had wanted it to. So it's in danger of breaking this low, but the structure is still there. But this is a pretty bullish count, right? We could still be in this wave 2 in a flat, another flat, right? And then come back down to 177. I think that's probably the best update given the market conditions. So that'd be 159, and we're just in a higher degree wave 2. And this would turn into a flat correction, a 3 swing move, a 3 swing move, and then down, and then this turns into an impulse. 1, 2, and it needs some 4s and 5s. That's probably where we're going with it. Now, what I don't like is breaking the trend line against this peak. Let's just look at this real quick. You see how we're breaking down. If we break this whole cycle, we probably would be better off relabeling it. Put a 3 here. We're just going to relabel this just a little bit differently. Do something like that, and then call this the flat here, something like this. That's probably what I would do looking at the RSI. So just a little tweak, a little different view, but it's probably the right way to label it for now. And then it comes out somewhere around here. So just like it's correcting the whole cycle. It had a bullish setup, but obviously it failed up here. So now it's this is the more typical corrective view. Okay, Costco. Okay, let's look at that. It looks like I don't know if that's 2 symbols you want me to look at, but I'll look at I'll type them both in. Costco, one of these parabolic, investor can't get enough of charts. So right away, we need to go to the monthly. So our peak RSI is still way back here, as crazy as it sounds. But we're not going to say that's an extended fifth, right? So more than likely, I'm going to go with this labeled. So I think I have it labeled the way I did, but it is in the danger zone for the top of a cycle. I'm not going to put the degree 3. I think it's just another 1, 2 in the grand super cycle. So I think it could be corrected since 2009 cycle. So this could be a major peak for the company. A major top. We have the bearish divergence to support it. I haven't looked at the divergences on this in a while. I haven't looked at this chart in a little bit, so let's just double check things. So that peak took out that leg here. So we're extending in 5. I think we're extending in 5 still. Okay, so it's not over yet, but I think time's running out. I think time's running out on it. And it appears to be extending in 5. Something like this. But again, my count can be off, and this is a dangerous area to be trading in it, and we should lose the whole 5th wave. So where's our 5th wave at? Again, it's hard to see all these cycles. It's been so damn bullish. So 4. So it gets back to 800, 737. So we're not looking for a big catastrophe, but somewhere here is where it should end. Somewhere there. This is the long-term trend line. So I mean, I guess maybe the worst case would be 600, but this would be somewhere there. And then it'll have a massive cycle that hopefully will take out that wave 3 peak that we saw earlier. So that's it. But I think it's in danger of finishing up the 2009 cycle, right? And that should create a lot of selling. That should create a lot of selling. So good luck on that. But this is all 5th wave. It makes sense because people are chasing it now. Here. Way back here, I think we had a buy opportunity on it way back here when we got between the 4 and the 2, but no one wanted it back then. Now everybody's talking about it. But I think you'll get a chance to get back in around 700, 800, and maybe if you're lucky, 600. Okay. And then this I don't know this symbol. I'll type it in and see what it comes up. I think you're just asking me about Costco, but okay, thanks. TLT, I already did TLT. CGC, again, we don't like any small caps until the Russell bottoms, so there's no reason to want to even try to buy those until the market stabilizes. So we have to just understand the market is going to take everything down, mostly, not everything, but most things, until it can stabilize. Okay, so this is no exception. I think this is becoming too bearish to become a B wave now. I think it's basically, but let's look at the bigger picture before I say that. No, it's still okay for a B. It's still okay. It's still fine. It looks like, again, a three-wave move, and this cycle just isn't over yet. It's just not over. And I don't think it ends until the market, can stabilize. The market's got to stabilize. It just hasn't been able to do that. Here, it looks like you have a 1-2 right there. Like a 1-2. That looks like a 3-4-5. So maybe you're close. Maybe we're close. Hopefully you're close. But you could always erase divergence and extend and surprise to the downside. But I think the market's got to stabilize to get this to stabilize. But I think it's close. I think it's close, and I hope it is, because I know a lot of people are in it. Let's take a look here. Something like that is probably the B wave. So hopefully it's close to finishing this impulse. The worst case scenario is it just drops, extends, and this becomes a 1-2, 1-2, and the whole setup's lost. And then I guess it is going to zero, right? I said there's the alternative view on these stocks is basically it's either they gotta move higher or they're all going bankrupt. And I just couldn't believe that would happen. But the way these stocks are trading, if these accelerate down, then there's something's broken. The market must be really, really dysfunctional with that industry. Now, I think this has to hold up. This has to play out like this. We have to have this fifth wave. And right now, as long as we have this bullish divergence, you're in a fifth wave, and it should hopefully recover soon. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, DRS and Shop. Let's take a look at DRS. I'm not familiar with that company. So again, kind of like a go to zero. Now we're coming off the bottom. That's good. Could be a big flat that finish. So we'll just trace it from the bottom here, from this low, and see where it takes us. It's probably in looks like in a wave 4, right here, right? That's probably what it's in. So this is so extended, but again, it could be corrective, because these are bear market stocks. So there's no guarantee you'll get a fifth wave. There's no guarantee. So we don't know if you'll get a fifth wave or not. So there's no way to know for sure. But this is actually the area it should bounce right here, looking at the wave. So you want to see another high with some divergence, and then you have a bullish structure that you can continue to buy the dip on. But if you keep pushing lower, then it's a corrective move. It's just going to go all the way back down, and there is a risk of that. I mean, let's look here. You're still okay, but if you fall below that line, chances are you're not going to get a 5, and it's just going to come all the way back down. Okay, and then Shop. And you said, what's your thoughts on shorting the gap down? I wouldn't short this just in case you get that fifth wave. Shop is one that never really bottomed correctly, so we need to be concerned we're not in a really big connector that will actually take this low out here. But for now, I think I forced the label in for now to force it complete. Here we're just going to force the label to force it complete, and then you have let's just take a look here. So Shopify here looks like you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, for a 1, 2 off the low, right? And this is probably another 1, 2. And then you have your extension in 3, a 4 and a 5, and then you have another 3, and now you're in 4, and you should get a 5. It should do something like that. Now, it is possible to make another 1, 2, right? It's always possible. It does something like this. It goes deeper and comes out. So there's no guarantee, but we are correct in this whole cycle. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to 93, 94 here. but obviously people are buying it. They want to buy it. Let's project. We could project the target area to buy it in. Here, buy it at 92, 87, 78. Probably fill all those gaps. Unsupported area right there. So it's probably the area that you'd want to buy it. Short. I wouldn't short it until it breaks this low and comes back in 3 waves. If it does that, then. But here I wouldn't short because it could continue higher. It could always extend wave 5. Or it could be that 4 I told you. So short, there's no short opportunity here. Now if it breaks that low and then starts to pull back up, you could try to short that. But other than that, I wouldn't short it just yet. This may not happen, but if it does, this would be the area that it would eventually get to. Okay. Eric, Nixx. Nixy. Interesting stock. Let's take a look. All right, let's see how this one is looking. So again, kind of a go to zero. So the way we do go to zeros is we always start from the last pivot and kind of work our way from there. That's interesting. RSI look. Let's go to the daily and see. Yeah, see how it pumped. Very unusual to see a spike above. Like that's an unusual look, but you still got the bullish divergence here. So we have to say that's a 5th wave of some kind, probably. It's probably some kind of 5th wave. Again, we'll have to kind of force things a little bit. It's not a lot of data here to work with. You know, you have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1, 2. Let's use our RSIs to help us label it. So why don't we say that this is our first 1, 2 right there. Okay. And then your next, this would be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1, 2 right there. And then it pumps in 3, right? It pumps in 3. And it comes back down. But you see how it came back down? That's too far. That won't work. So we're going to have to change the labeling, because we can't put the 3, too many overlapping layers for 3. So what we're going to have to do is look at it from a corrective standpoint. We have to look at it from a corrective standpoint. So A, B, C for W, X, Y, then W, X, Y there, and then you get W, X, Y. So the idea is, when does this X end? And that's the question that's tough to answer, but we could try to forecast some areas where it could turn, and right there, right where that is. So more than likely, that's X right there. It literally hit to the penny. When I see that kind of alignment and confluence, that's usually there. So that's probably the low in the turn. Let's take a look. So we have a 5th wave here. This is a 5th wave, so this is an impulse, and this is a flat. So it makes sense. It makes sense to me. Let me just see. We can't see how this subdivides. It's essentially so vertical. So you just kind of have to go with this this look. I know it's not ideal, but you'd have to go with something like this and an ABC to finish. But I can, like I said, I can label a lot of ways. But I think you'd want to see this hold. We haven't broke the cycle yet. But once we break that daily RSI trend line, then you know the low is in. It's confirmed. And then you should start to move higher in Y, or at least get a 3 swing bounce of some kind. But this is what you're hoping for, something like this. Now, if we don't get that break, then of course we're still in X, and the correction still needs to continue a little bit lower. But because this is the nature of the correction, we could even break this low and still recover and swing back up. So it's like the rest of the market, right? It's got these small caps are hurting right now, but it can easily change once the Russell stabilizes and the XBI, and I believe you'll get Y, hopefully, or at least a big bounce. But I think it could be done here. It could be finished, potentially. Okay, Litecoin buy area. So Litecoin, um, let's see. I know crypto's been selling off as we've been talking, and Litecoin, I mentioned it could do this flat. Looks like it's doing it. So the buy area is right here, 118, 117. But I would stop out at 106, because if you break 106, it would open you up for 96, 92, and then it could just keep going lower. But it's obviously very bullish. But it looks like it's in a flat right here. But really, it needs to hold at 106. It could still go lower. This is just an ideal area where I could see it bounce, but could still dive down lower. So good luck on that. It looks like Bitcoin's getting kind of annihilated tonight, but we're not surprised if you follow me and my member. Okay, guys, I'll scan through the comments one more time, and then I got to call it a night. And I appreciate all the super chats and everybody joining. Please tell your friends to join. It's only $5. You'll learn a lot. May have saved. You could have saved them way more than $5. I posted midday updates, a 2-minute clip that warned people about what was about to happen when I saw the three-way move in the market. I gave people a lot of warning signs to get, prepared for what we're in and what has happened in a lot. So you could save, save your friends the pain, and then $5 is it. So help me grow my followers. Please tell your friends about my channel if you like it. It's the only way I can get followers is through you guys. Apparently the algorithms don't work for me. I can't get the tens of thousands of people to follow me. You've got a lot of people that got hundreds of thousands of followers that were saying buy this, buy this, buy this, and with Trade Desk and a crowd, and I'm giving guys the right kind of the right answers, and I just can't actually lose followers typically. I mentioned about the Japanese yen and something, and some guy got mad at me, and he actually dropped me the other day. And I'm like, it puzzles my mind when I get these things right and people are angry. So again, I may not tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to just forecast the weather. I don't make the market. I can't just draw the line and that's what happens. You can't get mad at me. Like if I do this and you can't get mad because I don't make it do that. Like I can't make the markets like move by moving my lines around, but I think some people think I do. So when I show something like this, they think I'm going to move the market down, so they want to get so angry. And then when it happens, they actually don't want to follow me anymore. And it's really a tragedy because I don't understand. I just don't understand people. It's so funny, but that's the people out there. NVO, if you're an elite member, I covered NVO in my elite live stream. You can go through that. NVO's in there. And guys, I appreciate it. Thanks, Darth Buddha, my regulars that always come on, and Eric. And again, if I skipped over you, it wasn't because I just go to my elite members as part of the deal, the package, just so they can get their questions asked. Yeah, I would love to see the final move lower tonight and end this correction tomorrow. I would love to see the Qs drop where we need to, Bitcoin drop, and just end this correction tomorrow. Have that VIX spike, have the UVIX do its little thing, have the yen drop to the box and just end this thing now. I'd just love to do so we could get the market back on track. That's what I would love to have happen, but who knows? The market may be setting up to punish Trump for his tariffs. They maybe want to teach him a lesson. So if he's going to put the tariffs on March 4th, they may be showing him what's about to come and trying to scare him to change his mind. And then if he doesn't change his mind, they may give him like a super, a big, Aladdin may punish him and really, really hurt. So we got to be really careful. There could be big games like that happening. And again, Trump may want the markets to crash for all you know, to lower interest rates. And so he may have some 3D chess going on that we don't know about where, yeah, he usually likes the markets higher, but maybe not this time. All right, guys, that's all I got. Good luck. And again, I'll try to do my updates as much as I can. Next week will be tough, but I'll definitely be able to get updates in the morning and in the evening.